Alright, so we are rolling into the second episode of the min-maxing series on a farm I named Tater Farms for some reason, but it's done. So we'll just a quick refresh of our week 1 goals. We are mostly just going to work on the fishing part today. So, I don't know, pause on that frame if you want to refresh yourself on those. And then today, we're just going to go to the beach. Watered our crops, so we got to read the mail to make sure we get the fishing rod. Finish meeting everybody. We'll give Willie a rock for the gift part of the task. Fish a bunch. We'll donate an artifact. We'll get the fiberglass rod, as much bait as we can, and we'll hit level 4 fishing, hopefully. That's our goals. Nothing, if we don't meet one of them, it's not really a run ender, but it would just be nice to get all of them. So yeah, this is our first of many days of fishing related content. So I figured I'd probably just mess around with the speed a little bit. I'll do like normal speed for some of the earlier stuff, and then I'll speed it up once it gets to just like straight up raw fishing, So right off the bat, you'll notice I gave Willie a rock. That's for the gift task. Once you complete that, you get the 100 gold for meeting everybody and giving a gift. And that's it. I probably won't interact with anybody for another, I don't know, like a week at best, until I probably start making friends with Demetrius, if I try to go for the early Nautilus shell, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So yeah, the reason I am fishing so much is it's just one of the more reliable ways to make money early on. The ocean is not a great place to fish, but it's where you're at, and you can access Willie really quick. So we just kind of stay there. I'm going to take the time now to run up to the museum and donate my artifact from yesterday, so I get the 250 gold reward. And then if you want to, if you find the forageables on the beach, you can save them for the crab pot bundle in the community center. But in this case, I think I'm just gonna sell them and worry about that later on. They're not seasonal, so it's not that big of a deal. I also figured I'd take the time to throw in some less common Stardew Valley tracks. Like this first 2 have been Junimo Kart tracks. And they're just like super chill, and they're just great. Like Concerned Ape made some of the best music in a game in a long time, so might as well listen to those while we do this. I mean, I don't know. This one's kind of like hold music-y, but it's still good. Alright, and I bought the training rod. It makes your bar way bigger and way easier to level up your fishing faster. It's another thing you don't have to do, depending on how confident you are in your abilities. I wasn't feeling very confident, so I just went that way. It's only 25 gold. You get worse fish out of it, so it's not very money friendly, but it makes fishing a lot easier. And then once you buy the fiberglass rod, your bar will be smaller, but you'll be a little better at it. And I don't know if you notice the bubbles on the far right side over there, but those are there for what feels like half the day, but I can't reach them. No matter what you do, you can't reach them. They're just barely out of the diagonal casting range, which is so frustrating. Because bubbles on day 1 are they're the best. I mean, they take away all the stress because you know you're going to get fishing level 4 with good bubbles. For now, yeah, I'll just kind of hang out. Whoa, that was a weird sound. I'll kind of just hang out down here and fish and periodically check my level, because once I hit level 2, I'll go into Willie's shop and sell everything, and I should have over 1,800 gold, so I can buy the fiberglass rod, and I can also buy some bait. That way my fishing speeds up a lot. And then I'll change where I fish, and we'll get there in a second. And also, important note, I did get copper from a chest. So you really need, well, for this style run, you really need that copper to drop before the 4th, because you want to make sure that you get the recipe for the furnace before you go to the mines. That way you can be smelting copper as you go to the mines and have the right stuff to get a copper pickaxe on day 5. If that's not your goal, it's not really a big deal, but you could always just go to Clint's and buy 1 copper. I think it costs 75 gold, but we don't have to do that, so. Also, it's like 8. We got 8 copper, which is nuts. So that's a pretty good luck chest. This is like the Wizard song. It's pretty slick. I don't know. It's kind of like a little devious, but I don't know. I like it. It reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie a lot, which is kind of nice. That had really good music by a dude named Grant Kirkhope, who also did like the GoldenEye 007 music for the N64. And that's maybe one of the best soundtracks from the 90s in gaming. But that's not the point. That's not what we're doing here. You kind of want to get level 2 fishing before like 3 o'clock, I would say. Just so you have your fishing sped up before then. As you can see, I was like checking every 2 seconds, but I ended up with enough money to keep, well, yeah, I kept 1 sardine because I wanted to have that for the CC. And then I'll eat all the seaweed because that's the most energy efficient. But now that I have my good rod, I'm going to set my chest down here and try to hit the bubbles for no reason. And just going to keep fishing. The bite rate, I think, is doubled or something like that with bait. So it's a lot faster now, but it's the same stuff. Just fishing. I'm not very good at fishing. Even though I do it so much, but I'm just not that great. Like some people, I don't know, like Habu and some of the gnarlier, like min-max dudes, they know all the patterns and they can just nail it every time, but it's just not my jam. I think this is a mines. Oh, see, now there's some bubbles. And I can actually hit those. And bubbles actually increase your bite rate 4 times, which is insane. So it's almost always worth it to fish in bubbles, even if they're close. So your fish quality is less if you're looking for XP, because you can just catch over and over and over and over again. You can even take your bait off of your fiberglass rod to conserve it and fish the bubbles too. But in this case, I didn't do that. And then did I just sell the sardine? It's not important, but I might have just sold the sardine I was saving, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a little mistake. And there's another one anyway. These are some good bubbles though. Like they last a pretty good amount of time. And I was able to get 1 extra visit to Willie to restock on bait to make sure I didn't run out today or tomorrow. A lot of the bait we buy is kind of stocking up for tomorrow, even though we'll swing by here in the morning anyway. A few notes, I guess, about fishing in the ocean. It's the worst as far as money goes in the springtime. The fish are all pretty easy, at least if it's not raining, but they're not worth anything. Like herring, anchovy, sardine, they're pretty worthless. I think they're all worth less than chubs, which are like the food you'll eat because they're not worth that much. Your most valuable fish are the flounder and the halibut, but they're so rare that it's just really not worth fishing down here unless, you know, it's day 1 or day 2, I guess, of the first time you can fish, is what I mean. Then it's worth it to stay down here just because you can interact with Willy easier. But otherwise, you always want to fish at the lake if it's not raining, or the river if it's raining. If it's raining, it's because it's catfish season, or catfish weather, and those are like insanely valuable. They're really hard to catch, but once you have a big enough bar, you can pretty much guarantee a catch every time. But yeah, I'm fishing in the ocean for mostly just for skill ups. But you'll make a little bit of money. I think almost every fish that I catch will be sold for bait, just because it's something I'll need. I think like 500 or 600 bait is about what you're gonna want for the next week and a half. It's a lot of fishing, but that's just kind of how this route goes. The other alternative you could do is like the clay farming, and maybe I'll link to a video of somebody clay farming efficiently and like explaining how it works. But that's an alternative way to make a ton of money through a form of like RNG manipulation, because technically clay is predictable, like where it's going to spawn. So it might seem totally random when you like hoe up a piece of dirt and there's clay there, but really it's predicted. It's predictable, and it's all determined based on like how many times you've hoed, and then the pattern shifts over 2 and up 1 every time you hoe. It's more complicated than that, but that's kind of the general gist of it. It's really cool, but it takes a lot of like mental focus that I'm just not willing to dedicate. But that's like the true, like, as far as I know right now, like the hot min-max strat. It's just like non-stop clay farming until you're out of energy. It's super, super fruitful. But I don't know, I still just do the fishing kind of deal. The song is like a little more intense than usual stuff, but I think this is the Junimo Kart like theme song. But I never played Junimo Kart, so I don't know. I'm just kind of rolling through the soundtrack and picking things that, I don't know, I kind of enjoy the vibe too. And I mean, it's easy to pick some good stuff, but I try to go a calmer route. Like this. Yeah, this is all good. It's all good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna fish until I pass out. That'll be a pretty strong theme for the next week. Just fishing until you pass out from exhaustion. And usually that's fine to do if you don't have any money and if you skill up in the day. So what I mean is, I'll fish until like at 2 a.m. you pass out, right? And normally if you do that, the next day you'll wake up with way less energy. But if you skill up, it negates all of that, and you don't have to worry about it. You'll just wake up with full energy no matter what. Even if you're exhausted from overexerting yourself, or sluggish, or whatever it is, that'll still negate it. So you can wake up with full energy as long as one skill levels up. So I'll take advantage of that quite a bit. And at this pace, pretty positive that I'll be getting level 4. Level 3 would be fine too. The main thing is like, basically what you want is level 5 by the time you sell a bunch of stuff on day 4. Level 5 is the most important just because you get the fisher bonus, or fisherman's bonus, whatever it's called, which increases the value of your fish by 25%. So it's just a free 25 increase of money. So you have to sell less fish on day 4. That's the first time we'll sell stuff. Or it's the first time we'll sell stuff overnight. And yeah, so I just got sluggish, which usually is not great. because you start out with like, I think you like no energy basically whatsoever if you pass out and sluggish, but it won't matter. And then this chest here is obviously really useful because my inventory is super small, which I will be hopefully increasing the size of on Friday, on the 5th, right after I go through the mines. I hate having a super small inventory. It's the most frustrating limitation early on, aside from energy. It's just kind of hard to pick. It's hard to pick and choose stuff sometimes. But yeah, so I just passed out. I'll slow things back down again. So you can see, yeah, so I leveled up, level 3, and level 4. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And that's it. I mean, that's it for my second day. Like I said, it's not super entertaining to watch, but it's I mean, that's how it goes. That's a long play, I guess. I'll have another episode out again, like I said, in a couple days. Tomorrow should be more interesting just because it's catfish and they're a little more challenging to catch, and rainy days are just more interesting to me, at least. So I don't know, stay tuned. See ya.